Today we're about to do a wheel bearing on the 79 series Landcruiser. About to change the wheel. What's that? Masturbate. Here we have the wheel off and we're about to begin. I have my daughter's partner is going to do it for me, which is a good bloke. Mind you, I'll give him a carton of beer. And not only that, we have a special surprise for you. Is in my daughter is going to pack one of the grease bearings.
Yeah. Apprentice Emily.
So what we've got to do first is we've got to take off the hub, or the freewheeling hub, and then you take off the caliper so you're able to take off the rotor. Then we get all the bearings out. Alright, here we go. As you can see, Bryce has taken off the, what do you call that, freewheeling hub, right? There's the hub off, the freewheeling hub. You take out the split pin, I think it's
snap ring.
Snap ring, sorry. There you go. Then the cones, is that right, Bryce?
Yep.
As you can see, Bryce is tapping it with a hammer to release it.
Just gotta make sure we've got it all lined up. We know how it comes apart.
On it, I'll get Bryce to show you, they've got
a centre punch mark.
a centre punch mark.
You can see that. So we know it all goes back together exactly the same.
So you can see the centre punch mark just there. And there's another one on the rotor, on the hub.
And another one on the freewheeling hub.
And another one on the freewheeling hub. So you match them all up and they line up to go back together.
We need to jump up and spin the wheel again. Left hand down. Other way. Yep. There we go.
Right.
Yep, perfect. Righto.
Coming back.
Should be good.
All good?
Yep.
Good. Just took the caliper off, I think, or we're taking the caliper off. The brake caliper. Now putting our high-vis gloves on.
No, if you lose your finger.
Yeah, so you can find your finger. Now what Bryce is doing now is taking the lock, what do you call it?
Like a lock ring.
The lock ring, yeah.
Prevents the nuts from coming undone.
So many innuendos you could say to that.
Trust you.
As you can see, these bearings, the grease is pretty black, or the grease is pretty black. You can't see the bearings because they're not out yet. But and there's the lock ring.
The old locking ring.
A hub tool. Definitely need one of those in your toolbox. Especially if you're doing travels around the countryside. This is your first bearing, isn't it? Yeah, first bearing. That's not as bad as the other side. I didn't put you through the other side, but still got a bit blue on that one.
So it's definitely had a bit of wear, definitely been a bit of heat at some point. Now the hub will just come straight off. Got to remove all of the old grease.
That's the spindle, isn't it? Did you say?
Yep. So that's the axle, and this is the hub. Spindle hub. Is that camera still right? You can still see that.
Hang on, I'll come down. Bad cameraman here. You're right. Just doing a camera adjustment because I'm a bad cameraman. We're taking out the
Inner bearing.
inner bearing now. Well, it's out now, there it is.
Inner bearing and seal.
And the seal. As Bryce said before, we see that it's had a bit of heat there. I would have to say, we did the other side earlier, but I'd have to say the other side had a bit more heat in it, I think. It's a bit more black on the other side.
Just removing all of the old grease.
What are we pulling out there? Is it
Bearing cones.
the bearing cones? Yeah. 2 bearing cones to be removed, which holds the inner bearing in, I suppose.
Yep. It's for the inner bearing, the bigger bearing. Bearing kit.
Now what we're going to do now is pack the bearings, I think, is it?
Yep, we're going to put the cones into the hub.
Oh sorry, put the cones in the hubs first.
Yep. Your gaskets that they supply you in the hub kit. Also got a new seal and a new locking ring for your nuts. And your inner and your outer bearing.
I've got the Koyo brand bearings, but the whole kit comes from Terrain Tamer. And I'd recommend Terrain Tamer. They know their stuff. And the little kitty Bryce has got, well, I'll just get him to show you. He got it on eBay, but tell you what, if you're travelling, it's probably a handy tool kit to have with your, what'd you say, punches.
Yep,
It's
so
set.
it punches your bearing cones into place nice and evenly. You can do it the old fashioned way with a punch, but it just takes all the mucking around out of it. When you want to get it done nice and quick and easy and simple.
Great idea, I reckon.
Yeah. Minimal cost. Just make sure it fits. It does. And off you go.
How easy is that, eh?
Once it makes the thud, it's been seated all the way. Change your size and flip it over. And repeat the process.
Again, how easy is that? So what, you reckon about 30 bucks?
About
Right.
30 bucks on eBay, yeah. Saves a lot of mucking around. So now we can proceed to packing the bearings.
Now the dirty part comes. High vis gloves on again. What you do is you get your gloves on, you get a big blob of grease in your hand, like my daughter Emily's doing up there, and you push it up into your palm of your hand. And you get the bearing in your other hand and you push it in like so. I'll get a close up look at Emily doing it there. And you do it until it starts coming through the top of the bearing. So moving the bearing around once it goes through. As you can see, I'll just get Emily to show you. As you can see, it's come through the top of the bearing here a little bit, and you just move it around. Emily's just learnt this today, so what I'll do is I'll show you Bryce, who's professional at it.
So what you want to see is the grease being pushed through the rollers and just continuing to work around the bearing until the entire bearing has been completely greased all the way around.
And then when it's done, you have it. So yeah, that's how that's done. Alright. Now we're just going to start packing the
hub full of grease.
Full of grease. After the bearings have been done. Again, I'll say that we've done the other side first. No use showing you both sides. It's going to be pretty boring if we did. It's the same stuff on both sides.
Just got to be pretty generous when you're repacking the hub. The more grease the better.
I'm sure we'll get people out there saying they beg to differ, but I'm agreeing with Bryce. You can never have too much.
Never have too much grease. You know that is within reason, of course, but just fill it up till it's pretty much level with the bearing cones. Nice amount in there. Just a bit of extra insurance. Better off to be a bit more heavy-handed than not enough.
That's it.
And once that's done, we just put a little bit of grease on the spindle. On the thread, just a really thin layer on that because the hub is full. Okay.
There's the finished product for the bearings in there.
Now what we do is we put the larger bearing into the back of the hub, like so.
The larger goes in the back.
Just wipe out any excess grease where the seal's going to sit. Keep it nice and clean. This part can be a little bit tricky. Sometimes it requires two hands, sometimes it doesn't. We'll just see how, if we can get it to sit in nice and evenly. Have to tap from side to side until you can get it to start just like that, I think. You'll only go in so far. Once you feel that it's seated all the way around evenly, we're good to go.
Just to remind you, this is a 79 series Landcruiser, 2016 model. But it'd be similar to any car, I suppose, to do the same thing.
Any Toyotas, earlier Hiluxes, they're all very much a similar concept. Patrols, anything with a solid front end, or even on a IFS front end, it's all very much the same principle.
Just remember when you're watching this tonight, or today, or whenever you're watching this, to, if you like it, hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, helps me out, and share. Thanks.
trying to set the bearing in place and get the preload right. You don't want them too tight, because that can cause excessive heat, and you don't want them too loose either, because that will give you play. Needs to be just right. And you can achieve that by doing it up and then backing it off. And for your final adjustment, you just want it, you don't want it tight, but you don't want it loose either. You just need to find that nice little spot that you think there is just enough weight on it, but it's not too tight. Like that. So now we put the new locking ring on. This locks both nuts together, and it also makes it so it can't be undone. It can't come undone whilst driving. It's very important that is fitted correctly. So what I do with that one is just put it there loosely, hold it in place, and then we can lock the back one up. Just like that, folding it over the flat of the nut. And then the second one, which is just basically being used as a lock nut, more or less. It doesn't affect the bearing's tension at all, it's just simply locking it together. So just a nice little firm nip, like so. A little bit more, like that. And then we simply just bend the locking tab forward over the front one. Just like that. And then once you're happy with that, we can remove the old gasket. Okay. Gasket can only go on one way. Like so. And again, as Adam said earlier, we just simply lining up our index marks.
And I'll zoom in. I see that index that
Yeah.
Bryce is pointing to. Yeah.
We just simply line that up. Makes it nice and easy. Takes the guesswork out of it. And that way it goes back together exactly as it come apart. There'll always be one that doesn't want to start. There we go. So you want to make sure they're all started correctly before you tighten them up with a rattle gun. Nice little firm nip. it's time to refit our snap ring. We may have to pull the axle out a little bit, just see if we can get it. Yeah, there we go, it's just falling in. It's very important that you don't forget to refit this. Again, lining up our index mark with the other two marks, and it will just fall into place.
We hope.
We hope. You have to be careful when you're tightening these, because the thread on the housing or in the housing is only made out of aluminium, and it will strip really easy, so you don't have to do these tight at all. Just a real little firm nip. I'm only using a 3/4 drive ratchet, and that's all you need. Any tighter and you will strip them out. And again, just making sure that they're all done up nice. There we go.
And that's the wheel bearing done.
That's the wheel bearing back together completely. All we need to do now is refit the caliper and we're good to go. Put all that rubbish in there. No.
Let me turn.
Yep. Yep. I'll turn the wheel. Just move that camera. Okay. That should be right there, I think. we should be right to let that wheel come back. And just finish tightening up the top bolt, which is a bit difficult. There we go. Nice and tight.
All done. Father fat lady thing. Just a wheel to go back on and that's done. Thanks for watching. This is Aussie Cruisers 4x4. Remember, like, subscribe, comment, share, and we'll catch you next time. Bye. Thanks, Bryce.